Sex first night? Some people have sex the first night and get ghosted. Some people have sex the first night and are married. It depends on the vibe and the person. I think using discernment is the best way to go here. If the date feels genuine and you really like them, and it naturally huge emphasis on this gets to that point, sure, why not? But if the date feels okay, but you really like them and it seems like they really want to take you home, then it's probably not a good idea. But everything isn't all black and white, so just go with how you're feeling and how the date flows. I think it's a bad idea unless it's what you want to do and are okay with possibly being ghosted. Because most first dates don't become second dates, and people might even know they don't plan on seeing you again and still try to sleep with you. Sex on the first night doesn't define you BCS. Whoever you're doing it W is also having sex on the first night. So who are they to judge? Live your life. Ike guy am with now we waited about 6 months and I've been with him for years. Before that, 2 guys I slept with first was first month of seeing each other ended the next month lol. Second guy was the first night and it ended almost 2 weeks later. Both because of me. If I'm serious about a dude and want things to last, I'm not going to sleep with him that early on. Just me though. I slept with an ex on the first night, made it 15 months, and broke up due to distance, and not planning to close it even temporarily. Another ex I slept with first night, made it over 14 months, but I made some mistakes and broke us up. Current relationship, slept with date 1, been approaching 20 months now, mostly long distance, and still together. Edit, I'm a guy. Compatibility doesn't care when or where, it's either there or it isn't. Seems so odd to me to have sex with essentially a stranger as a first date thing. I personally would like to get to know that person first before I get attached intimate. 18, year 3, 2 e 2 4 e 1 6. In my last relationship, we had sex the first date, we're together for 15 years and 3 kids. Relationship before that, she suggested friends with benefits and it turned into a relationship over time. Lasted 5 years. The relationship with the most sex almost daily for 3.5 years, took until the 3rd date before we did anything. It's just one facet of many in a relationship. Guy here, had first date, sex a lot, guessing about 23-34 first dates, and I've never thought less of someone because of it. I have run into the issue of them feeling like I look down on them for it though. For a time I actually stopped trying to do it to avoid that, but I did finally meet someone I really connect with and want to have a future with. We had sex on the first date. I don't think when you have sex has anything to do with whether or not a relationship will work. The problem is really if you want a relationship, and not just sex. You have to figure out if you actually want a relationship with that person first. At the end of the day, men often will have a relationship with someone who they aren't going to be having great sex with. TBH, these usually break down later. Relationships are not sex. I had sex with my ex the night we met. It should been a one-night stand, but instead turned into a 7-year-long relationship from hell that produced 1 child. I would highly advise not having sex on the first date or first night. As a guy, I wouldn't. Just not my thing. If someone can't wait to have sex with me, then they have a high chance of leaving somewhere down the line. IMO. Do what you want. If a man needs to be manipulated in order to date you, who needs that guy anyway? Women need to be free to be themselves and stop trying to conform to men's secret behavior code that wives must follow. I don't see it as less value. It's just that sex is supposed to be when you have total trust and committal in a relationship. No contraceptive is perfect, and one day isn't even enough time to set boundaries and could lead to you getting an STD or worse. If they want wait for sex, they value your body, not you. 22 years ago I slept with a wonderful lady on the first date. Married 16 years now. My last relationship we had sex the first night, and the next morning, and that day, that night and the next day. I was pretty fresh out of a sexless marriage divorce. Year-long divorce process. Met somebody on an app. Messaged, texted, chatted. First date, the tension was fucking wild. Went to a baseball game. Left early. Went to a brewery. Left early. Tore each other's clothes off at her place. Literally spent 72 HRS in an insane fuckfest. Neither of us had done anything like that before. So no, I don't judge off of that. Sometimes it just happens and I hope you all get to experience it. When I was in my 20s, I sure did without caring about any relationship. These days I don't trust anybody. Female BTW. Depends on the goal if you got a short-term or long-term goal. Short-term meaning you give it ASAP. Long-term is them falling in love with your whole personality and all, thus becoming attached.